Chaofu Group first got involved with Green China Rising because it was a natural fit between what we were doing here at Parkview Green and what Green China Rising was trying to show to the world. Green China Rising is a documentary about some of the green technology that's happening in China, some of the things that are being spearheaded in China, and technologies that need to be used here are really pioneering some of the technologies that could be used around the world. We felt that was a great message to bring to the world. We believe in the same philosophy for here in Parkview Green, and so that's why we got involved from the beginning. There was a very natural fit, and it also helped myself and also the company learn about a lot of what our peers are doing, and also gave us a lot of access to interesting companies that for us could also prove very beneficial, very fruitful relationships with some of the companies being featured in the documentary. Parkview Green is the core philosophy around the architecture of the building is an environmental shield. Environmental shield that's surrounding 4 office towers. As you can see behind me here, I see 2 of the taller office towers. The environmental shield that we have creates effectively a biosphere or a biome that allows us to control the microclimate around our building. The shape and this envelope is very unique. We believe is one of the most unique buildings in the world. There are very few projects doing this. There is a trend now of technology like this being employed in other places in the world, but we believe we're one of the first. We have this environmental envelope. It allows us to trap the waste heat coming from buildings, and also allows us to control when we exhaust it or when we trap it or when we keep it. That allows us to save a lot on energy, especially in the wintertime. We trap the ambient heat energy and use that to warm up the building. Likewise, in the spring and autumn months, we're able to exhaust the waste heat, thereby creating a natural ventilation, pulling air in from lower parts of the building, and also the car park where it's naturally cooler. And that also allows us to promote very, very high levels of natural ventilation throughout the building as well. Our building shape is shaped in such a way so that we do not block the sunlight from our neighbors. A lot of sun models were done, sun path models were done to effectively show that our residential neighborhood around us don't get their sunlight blocked throughout the year, basically. So the shape of the building is not at all arbitrary. It is based on a lot of mathematics and a lot of key design features that all have a function. We're very strong believers here in form following function. So everything you see here does have a function and is not just some arbitrary or superfluous detail. We also harvest rainwater through our entire roof structure as well, and that's all integrated into the lateral members of the structure. We also have ETFE roof envelope that helps us to block UV, also solar gain, but at the same time also provide us with 98% natural light throughout the building. Because of this environmental shield, the space in between our towers is traditionally would be a lot less used throughout the year, but because of environmental shield, it takes our interstitial space in between the buildings and makes it a lot more useful throughout the year, giving us a lot more usable area, but also a lot more pleasant space for all of our tenants, all of our customers, and all of the people in our community to be able to use the building as much as possible in the most pleasant way as possible. The other unique feature that we have about the building is this bridge that we have. It is a true suspension bridge. It does not rely on being held up by any part of the building. It is a true suspension bridge on its own. It's about 230 meters long. We believe it's one of the longest suspension bridges in the world, indoor suspension bridges in the world, making it very, very unique. It's also what we believe one of the key features for people to be able to come in to experience and appreciate the unique architecture of the building. I would say the top 3 most unique features of Parkview Green is number 1, the environmental shield, which allows us to control the microclimate of the building. Number 2, which is our bridge, the longest indoor suspension bridge in the world. which allows people to appreciate the shape and the architecture. And number 3 is the integrated architectural design of the project. China has a lot of issues, both challenges but also opportunities. We all know that there's all sorts of environmental issues, from water, from air quality to energy crisis, but also there's a lot of things happening in China. There's a lot of technologies. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Innovation. There's a lot of
Let's try one more time.
Okay. There's a lot of challenges in China. There's also a lot of opportunities. Everybody knows China has water issues, air pollution issues, energy issues, but also in all these places, there are places in China where there are amazing people doing very innovative work, very unique, world-challenging levels of technology. So China has a lot of challenges, both opportunities and also challenges. Everybody knows about China's water problems, air pollution problems, energy crisis problems, resources problems, but China's also a place where there's a lot of different companies and people trying to solve those issues, because those issues are real, are everyday issues here that people need to find solutions for them just even to continue for their business to develop. We believe here at Parkview Green that we hope to be a beacon. We hope to be an example for other companies to follow in our footsteps. But also we would like to attract green companies thinking in the same way, and to bring companies that believe in the same philosophy in the building for exchange of ideas, but also as a center of excellence that other companies can see and aspire to. We obviously want to be a commercial success, so that people in China also believe that being green doesn't necessarily mean sacrificing anything, and that there is a very strong commercial model for really providing a building to the level to the quality that we're at. One of the biggest challenges, which I hope and I see sometimes happening in China, is that we want people to copy what we did, but we want people to copy the philosophy, not the form or the shape. That's not the point. Everything about this building, the form, the shape, is informed by technical reasons, by reasons of location, of sun, so everything has a reason. So we don't want people to just look at the shape and kind of go, oh, we'll make another Parkview Green and just copy the form, and then none of the functionality that we have here and the richness of what we have and the multiple multiple uses that we get from our high technologies they won't get the same benefits. China will become the largest economy in the world in the next 10, 15 years. Can China develop in the same model as the West, Europe, America has done? Arguably, definitely not. There's a lot of evidence that the resources in the world just aren't enough for China to develop in the same way. I think China knows that, and I think China appreciates that, but also they don't want for its own people to feel shortchanged because of that. And so the best way for China to develop is to adopt a very strong green philosophy, so that everybody lives it. Everybody feels that it's almost a given, so that they can still get the comforts that they're looking for, as everybody will want as they become more and more affluent, but always also be conscious of the impact that they're creating on the planet and the resources. So the good thing about China, though, is that the government does have a very strong hand and ability to push certain incentives through or programs through. Whereas in the West, you have a lot of debate and a lot of discussion where sometimes things get bogged down in politics. But that's just one side of the equation. You know, there is also the issue of China needing to also adopt it from the grassroots level, because if you don't do that, it's you know, there's no point having a top-down government push. You know, the people have to believe in it as well. So I hope, you know, my hopes for China that it can lead the world. It can also benefit from it by creating some of these technologies that the world will require. It will need it itself, and you know, there is commercial opportunities there, and I hope China is at the place where it can be one of the key components and the key players in this space. For Green China Rising, what I was hoping, well, the most important thing really was to show a lot of the world a different view of China. China is obviously very big in the media right now. Everybody knows China as an idea, and everybody has their own ideas of what China is, especially in the West. And you know, it could be a threat, it could be the new opportunity, it could be all sorts of different things. You know, so my hopes to show a counterintuitive, a non-conventional wisdom view of China, and I guess maybe seeing beyond the smog. What's you know, what is behind that? What is and there are, I guess, silver linings or rays of hope in China, and this is what we're trying to bring to the world. We want maybe also for this to be shown in schools, to be as widely seen as possible, as both a educational thing, but also as an inspirational thing for both internationally, but also domestically as well. We want this to be shown in China. We want people to see, you know, what amazing things are being done here, and also for themselves to act on it and to maybe come up with their own ideas. And it's important to, you know, to show that these are both, you know, socially responsible things to be doing, but also they're commercially responsible. They're commercially successful. Things that aren't commercial are very rarely sustainable. You know, the sustainability isn't just about how it treats the world, but also being a commercial success, because then it will continue to be something that will continue to go on and to generate and to be adopted across you know, in en masse. So yeah, so that's my, you know, my core hope is that you know, Green China Rising could be the start. Maybe there could be more stories that get brought out as things develop. This is something that is a subject I think is important to be told, to be talked about, and to be explored. When Chaofu Group, when I first got involved with Green China Rising, we were first approached as a potential story in the documentary. And then as I started to learn more about it, I decided I wanted to be more involved. I felt it was a very good story, a very good idea, and a very good concept. So I felt like it would be better for me to be more actively involved in the project. And since then, we've gone on to effectively executive produce, but also fund the project, partially fund it, not entirely. But because of that action, ironically, and for editorial integrity, we weren't now able to feature the building in the documentary. Or our other project, which is Prime Line, which is bringing natural gas to Wenzhou. So those two very good stories, which we would obviously want as much publicity as possible, but because we fell in love with the project so much, we actually, you know, and before, like I said, for editorial integrity, we decided to not feature the project in the documentary, so that this story can be told as widely as possible and with as little skepticism as possible. So yeah, so right now what you're seeing is the documentary in its whole. We haven't taken anything out, but what we have done is added about 4 minutes for Parkview Green and about 4 minutes for Prime Line, to showcase in the same style as the documentary what we're doing that would fit into this story. And how it should, you know, how it would work. So what you're seeing here is a the documentary is full with additional footage cut in. I guess what you call the executive producer's cut, basically. So so I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you around. I hope that everybody enjoys the documentary and also learn something from the documentary, and maybe change a little bit of the perception or ideas of China and of what's happening here in China. Chafo Group is proud to be involved in Green China Rising, a 1-hour documentary about China's green technology. Parkview Green, Chafo Group decided to be a part of the documentary due to the fact that Green China Rising is about China's emerging green technology. China has a lot of energy issues, a lot of air pollution issues, a lot of water issues, and what Green China Rising wanted to do was to show some of the technologies and some of the advances, innovations that are being done here. Parkview Green being one of the projects of Chao. This is.
Okay, we found 2 amazing partners.
Yes.
Who shared our vision.
Okay, we found 2 amazing partners who shared our vision in CICC and National Geographic. With them, we were able to bring the project to completion, and now we have already sold it across multiple territories around the world, and has already been viewed by millions of viewers. We've also very proud to announce that we've also won quite a few awards already, and it's continuing to gather momentum. We also hope that we are also hoping that this Green China Rising will be something that we can use for educational purposes across both internationally but also domestically in China. We want this to get to as wide an audience as possible, because these stories are about being shared and about inspiring others to do the same. We think that this story needs to be told. It's showing China in a different light, maybe challenging some preconceived notions and challenging conventional wisdom. In this special version of the show, we have added some additional footage to the existing documentary. When we first got involved with the project, Parkview Green and Primeline was potentially going to be featured in the documentary. But as I fell in love with the project, and as the company fell in love with the project, we decided that we wanted to get closer involved and have a tighter relationship with Green China Rising. And so due to editorial integrity, we were then not allowed to incorporate what we were doing into. Due to editorial integrity, we then felt it wasn't right for us to feature our own projects within the documentary itself. So what you're seeing here is the documentary in its entirety with an additional 8 minutes of footage featuring both Parkview Green and Primeline. I hope you enjoy this special feature. I like to call it the executive producer's cut, and I hope you enjoy the documentary and are as inspired by what you see in the show as I was learning about it during the process. Chafo Group is extremely proud to be involved with Green China Rising, this 1-hour documentary about Green China. We believe that it's important for the world to know about the story, to know about what's happening in China and what green technologies are being spearheaded here. A lot of the challenges China faces are very real and are very present. So China needs to solve these problems for itself. But in that, there's an opportunity for these new cutting-edge innovations to also be exported across the world and to be seen and to be commercial opportunity for China. Likewise, Chaofu, we see developing green buildings as our opportunity and our ability to also showcase to the world China's ability to really create groundbreaking, world-class projects and products. Here at Chaofu, we believe that green buildings, but also green energy like natural gas, are part of China's future, and it showcases some of China's abilities to to really think of or develop innovative, groundbreaking, world-class solutions. You know, our project here at Parkview Green is an example of very high-end green architecture, and Primeline is an example of bringing natural gas, clean energy to a very important area of China in Wenzhou. So these opportunities are core to Chaofu, and we felt that this project fit very well with some of the ideas and the thinking that we have as a company. We found two amazing partners in National Geographic and CICC. With them, we were able to utilize their resources and their connections to get the maximum that we're able to get for this project. With them, we've already won multiple awards, and this documentary has already been seen in multiple territories around the world by millions of viewers. We're hoping that this continues, and the story gets told more and more throughout the world, both educationally, but also by the general public, just to inspire people's thinking, and also maybe to change some conventional wisdom and some traditional ideas people have about China. We also hope that Green China Rising will be seen by educational institutions, but also by the general public, to inspire people to do more themselves, to come up with their own ideas, and to really foster the grassroots that needs to happen for any green revolution. Green China Rising has already won multiple awards, and Green China Rising has also already won multiple awards and is already being seen in multiple territories around the world. We hope this continues, and we hope that this gets, our story gets broadcast and gets pushed further and further. In this special version of the show, we've added an additional 8 minutes of footage to the original documentary. When we first got involved with Green China Rising, Parkview Green and Primeline was potentially going to be some of the stories that was featured in the documentary itself. But once we got further involved, we started being involved in sponsoring and funding the project, we felt for editorial integrity, it wasn't right for us to feature those stories in the documentary itself. So what you're seeing here is what I call the executive producer's cut, where we showcase some of what Chaofu does, and how it would fit into this documentary if we hadn't been involved, funnily enough. So I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope you are as inspired by some of the stories in the documentary as I was, as I was going through the process of producing this documentary, executive producing this documentary, and blah, blah, blah. I hate this. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you enjoy the show.